Hello and welcome to TheFanspire, the talk show that brings you everything about football through the fans, for the fans. A candid conversation about football matches, team performances, those player transfers that keep us fans on our toes for days, the controversies that never fail to surprise us, and of course, lots more about football. So, if you like the show, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So, I bet all of you are excited for today's show, and I'm really excited to get to the main topic, which is going to be very interesting, very entertaining, and personally, one of my favorite leagues. Yes, we're going to be talking about the EPL. You guessed it right. We're going to be talking about the Premier League. But before we get into it, let's take a quick look at the UEFA Nations League that currently happened. So we have the stats of the League A. Poland and Italy both ended up winning their games, with Belgium winning 5-1 over Iceland, and a disappointing draw for England. We fans were hoping for much more from that match between England and Denmark. France beat Croatia 4-2, and Portugal beat Sweden 2-0. So yes, that were the match stats for the UEFA Nations League. Now I know you are all super excited to get talking and raving and ranting about your football clubs. So let me introduce to you our host for today, Vineet.
Thank you, Priyanka. That was wonderful.
Hi, Vinit.
So,
Hello.
hi. So I hope you caught all the matches. You briefly described, yes, England was, disappointing. But
Yes,
before
yes.
we move on to the whole thing, I would like to call on the panelists. Okay. But before that as well. So we at Fanspire have our own fantasy league. Okay.
Yes,
So if you
yes.
can see, yeah, so I hope everyone, there are more than 6 million people playing at the moment. So if you can see on your screen, on the bottom of your screen, we have the code. You can just copy it down, write it down, join in quickly. It's free and no one needs to pay anything. So for Indians, it's the best. Yes.
Yeah. And
So
we have
let's,
a lot of prizes as well for the
yes,
fantasy.
definitely. We cannot forget the exciting prizes. So let's
Correct.
move on and call the panelists in. So we have Danny, all the way from England, who is obviously an England fan. Then we have Kaushik from Mumbai, who is going to talk about his favorite country, which is France. So hi both of you all. So how are you? So especially first I get to Danny. Danny, disappointing result. Yes.
I mean, I did mention it last week. I knew
Yeah.
we were gonna bottle it. I mean, we won 1-0 in the 90th minute against Iceland, and then again we drew against Denmark. And if we're trying to compete on the top level, we need to be winning them games. And it's disappointing. And then midweek we find out that our youngest players that have got so much promise have kind of been in the press for
Yeah,
bad
they went
news.
off
And
foot. Yes.
yeah, it's I don't know, it's a bit of a depressing kind of turn of events, but I kind of
That
knew it
has
was going to
been sort of a
happen.
story. Yes, that has been sort of a story for England players in the past as well. Just getting off
Exactly.
track of their personal lives, etc. Do you think that is the reason it affected the morale on that day, on match day against Denmark, with Greenwood missing, Foden missing, two promising youngsters, as you mentioned?
I mean, I don't think it should make a big impact. They're professional footballers, and I think they should forget about the kind of things that happen off the pitch and focus on the pitch. But I mean, maybe, but they're younger players. They're not older players, so they don't look up. Like, for example, some of the older players won't be too phased if younger players aren't playing. So I don't know. I don't think that's a big effect, but just a bit depressing.
Yeah. You did mention in the last episode as well that you were not too optimistic that England would perform at the highest level. But going into at least this international break, they had the easiest draws. because Denmark and Iceland. Next, they'll be facing Belgium, who won 5-1, like we saw in the stats. So I'm
Exactly.
pretty sure you're much more nervous about that.
Well, you know what? I'm not, because I think we'll beat Belgium, because we always
That's a strong statement.
we
Yeah.
perform, and we'll beat Belgium, I think. But then we lose
Maybe the
again.
start of Premier League will help. Maybe the
Yeah,
start of the Premier League.
maybe, yeah. Match fitness is a big thing, and maybe getting back into the season might help. But yeah, I think it'll be a very close game against Belgium, which is surprising. But it's football; it makes no sense sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So talking of match fitness, I'll move on to Kaushik. Yes. So just before the match of France, we got the news that Mbappe had been, tested positive for COVID. So did you? But surprisingly, that also against a strong opponent like Croatia, but they still turned out to be the better team on the day as well. So, like, I guess you're a mute. You're a mute.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I actually think, tournaments like the Nations Cup, teams that do really well are teams which have a lot of depth, right, in terms of bench strength. And because it's also a time with the Euros being moved out to 2021 for coaches to try combinations, try fringe players. And I think that's why teams like France have a really good chance. So, I know Mbappe didn't play the game. And I guess as the season progresses, there'll be lots of other combinations tried. And I think, aside from being sort of the world champion, I think France really has a lot of youngsters coming through, a lot of bench strength, and that sort of really helps.
Yeah, a 17-year-old player had made his match debut
Yeah.
in the later stages of the match. So they do have the depth. Plus, Olivier Giroud went on to score his 40th goal, I guess, third
Yeah.
in the highest scorer. So you do have a good team, and especially looking at the Champions League, it was like two Germans, two French teams
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the semi. So
I mean, I
that's a
think the
strong
thing with,
statement.
yeah, but I think the thing with the France team also is how many of the starting 11 actually play in France anymore, right? I think that's the big difference sort of between English football versus maybe French football or German football, right? I think players are more well-rounded, more adaptable. England, and sort of very predictable, right, in the way they play. So I think, yeah, France is in good shape. I think for the next, I want to say, next World Cup at least, right? Because they have a lot of youngsters
So do
coming
you
up.
think Euros, the France has a really good chance to win this time?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if they're rated second now behind Belgium just in terms of FIFA rankings, but I think France always will start as favorites, at least for the next 4 to 6 years, right? I mean, with the team that they've got,
Yeah.
if you look at, they're always in the mix. So yeah,
So
I definitely.
Yeah, Danny. So your predictions for the Euros? I know it's way too early to even start talking about the Euros, but do you think this whole team, the current team, I'm talking about the current team, has even the slightest chance to reach the finals at least?
No, no. I don't
Luck's
think
needed.
so.
Luck's needed.
No,
Maybe luck.
no. I mean, maybe there's a lot of people that disagree with me because obviously we got the likes of Sancho and great scorers like Kane and
But Sancho hasn't been,
Sterling.
sort of
But
seen on the field as well in the last
yeah,
few matches. It's like he's been
yeah.
invincible.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems is, like you said before, about the past with England and the kind of all the expectations, and then we're doing nothing, And I feel like that still is instilled into these players, and they know about it because the pressure from the media, etc. And I think it affects them on the pitch because they don't play like they do for their teams in the league when they play for England, and there's obviously a reason for that. So they may be like me a bit, I'm not that too confident about it. So it shows.
Maybe you will grow into confidence seeing the Premier League.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah. So let's quickly move on to last we are talking about the Nations League. Let's call in the finalists of last edition of the Nations League. So we have for Netherlands Kumar and Portugal is Siddesh. So Siddesh will be talking about his favorite team, Portugal. Hi Siddesh, hi Kumar.
I mean, I have a few favorites, but Portugal
But like Ronaldo, all the I can say that is Ronaldo. That's it. I don't need to say anything else, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that guy, when he's driven to do something, he does it. He finds a way to do it. He's
Definitely.
unstoppable when he's on that kind of mindset. He's unstoppable. Doesn't matter how old he is.
Like everyone knew he's on 99 goals. Maybe some other players who take that pressure. He just thrives off that pressure, right? So he just goes on to score 100. Plus, not only the 100, even his next goal he goes on to score. And both
Yeah,
were sort of
also,
purely good finishes.
yeah, exactly. Like also the quality of the finishing, the quality of the goals itself, so good.
Definitely. On the other hand, Kumar, you look a bit disappointed with Netherlands' results. Like, because against Italy, they won so good. So, what do you have to say on that?
So, Netherlands is very unpredictable team actually. If you see the history, we have never won a World Cup. Also, I mean, we have been missing somebody who is an actual finisher like Ruud van Nistelrooy. After he left, I mean, we don't have any full-fledged
no
striker.
out
We are
and out
playing
number
with
9 you all
different-
have.
Yes, so that's the main problem that Netherlands has been facing over the years. Last World Cup they reached the finals, but then I mean, what really is missing is the finishing touch. The Dutch league is also known as a farmer league. I mean, it is always known for shipping out players. It is a seller league.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, talent is there, but players, I mean, when Bike also has joined Manchester United now. So you see Dutch
Siddesh is
stars
smiling
everywhere.
over there.
So Dutch stars are everywhere across all the top 5 leagues. But then as a nation, they don't win anything.
Definitely. Nations League could have been the chance where they could have won the first trophy last edition. But unfortunately, not United, Portugal turned out to be the better team on that day as well. So do you think this Nation League, there is something?
No, see, against Italy, you cannot do much because they park the bus. I mean, they are a very defensive team. So,
But Italy were
we
the
had-
attacking team on that day.
That's what I'm saying. It's generally traditionally a defensive team. We had only 43% possession against Italy. So that speaks volumes actually, that they were more attacking than us. And traditionally, Dutch football is known for attacking, I mean, free-flowing football, total football as they call it in the IS in the 70s and 80s. So that is missing in the Dutch team in the last 2 decades or so.
So Siddesh, Portugal has shown that without Ronaldo as well, they can, score easily whenever they want. So like I think they're still the favorites to, retain the Nations League. But do you think like this may sound a bit, out of the thing? Do you think without Ronaldo they are a better team? Do you think that?
I don't think they are a better team, but I don't think if you take out Ronaldo, I don't think their quality diminishes because I think they're playmakers. You have your Bruno Fernandes and the Bernardo Silvas, and they make it happen. And I think that
A better overall team they have. A better overall team they have, which
I think
thrives if he's not there.
Yeah, I think they have a good balance, but obviously Ronaldo brings in that little extra magic. But that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. Whoever replaces Ronaldo has to have that same kind of drive to, just score goals because that's what he brings. Ronaldo, he just wants to score goals and usually does. So yeah.
Definitely, yes.
Yes,
So
but
let's move.
with regards to them going on to win again, I don't know because Belgium look really good as a team. France, as Kaushik said, the depth of that team is really good. So they'll have that fitness to see it through probably. So Portugal might at least get till semi-finals, I would say, at least.
So we can just wait and watch. And
Yeah.
before we move on to our main segment, which is the Premier League, again, just a reminder to all the football fans over there, we have our own fantasy league. You can see the code going around below on the bottom of your screen. Feel free to join in. We have the registrations open till 18th of September. After that, which it will be closed. So before we move on to the segment, so let's move on to question of the week. Okay, so the first person to answer the question correctly on a YouTube channel, on a Facebook, even in the panelist chat, will receive an award from Chups worth 750 rupees. Their flip flops worth 750 rupees from Chups. So the question is here. So last year in October, last season, Leicester scored 9 past Southampton. They scored 9 past Southampton. So Vardy was one of the players who scored a hat trick. Who was the second player? Again, I'll repeat. Who was the second player to score a hat trick in the 9 goals which was scored against Southampton in last season's 9-0 win of Leicester? So you can comment, you can Google, but remember, it's the first one who gives the correct answer. Yes, so let's quickly move on to our Premier League. I know everyone's excited to see what our panelists have to say on the Premier League, which is starting tomorrow. So first, I'll call the defending champions, Liverpool. We have Samik from Mumbai, who's a diehard Liverpool fan, and along with him, we have Matty. Yes, because as Liverpool is playing Leeds, we have Matt, who is a Nottingham Forest fan, but I'm pretty sure he has lots to say against the newly promoted side. So, hi Matt, hi Samik, how are you all? All's good?
Yeah, thanks for having us on. As you said, I'm a Forest fan, so I saw a fair bit of the newly promoted clubs. And I think most English football fans probably wanted to see Leeds back in the Premier League. I can't remember how many years exactly it's been, but it's certainly been a while. And a club
16
of that
years.
size,
16 years.
Yeah, I think a club of that size and the stadium size certainly deserve to be in the Premier League. As for this season, I think they've signed a couple of decent players. Obviously, Rodrigo joined from Valencia. Before that, they were relying on Patrick Bamford, who hasn't ever really done it in the Prem. So I think that's a signing they probably needed to make. If he doesn't score, then I don't know where the goal's going to come from. I don't think they've got a lot of...
So do you think Leeds have what it takes to survive?
I think of all the teams, I think of all the teams, they will probably do the best, but I think a lot of that is down to Bielsa, who's the manager, being a very good coach. And they were very strong in the Championship last year, so I don't see why they can't sort of play with that same high energy and high pressing football. Against Liverpool, they might have to change it, but I think it'd be a good game.
Yes. So you mentioned high pressing, high intensity. So Samik, you're familiar with those terms. Gegenpress, you can call them.
Yeah.
So Liverpool play the same
Absolutely.
idea, high pressing. So it will be sort of attack versus attack, or who makes more mistakes. So what do you think Liverpool? Because see, since the lockdown was lifted. Yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Ask.
Yeah, so I was saying that since lockdown, they have been in poor form, which is there for everyone to see. So, do you think tomorrow is a tricky?
It is definitely a tricky match to start off the Premier League. I think majority of last season, especially the end of the last season, post we won the league like in 31 games. So post that, it's more it's been pretty. I don't think the performances have been up to the mark, but that's understandable considering the intensity that goes into the game. Considering tomorrow's match, I believe Leeds have a very similar style of playing in terms of the pressing bit. They also do man-to-man marking, which is one of their special things. But generally, I think it's a very tricky match to start off. Probably the toughest amongst all teams to start off this particular match. But I think Klopp, I'm sure, with all the preseason games that we've had, which were not that great, but weren't that bad as well. So I think we've had a well-oiled machine since the preseason has started off, and I think we'll be ready for tomorrow's match. So I think that's going to be an interesting match, but I'm sure Liverpool is going to go past the line.
Yeah, the well-oiled you mentioned, Wijnaldum is a pivotal part in that, and he's rumored to be wanted by Barcelona. And there are still no news on Thiago. I don't think so. There's an official bid yet for Thiago from Bayern Munich. So how do you see that going? In case Wijnaldum leaves, there are no signings. Yeah.
So I think in terms of signings, I believe the midfield is still strong. I mean, we have players like Keita, Fabinho, and all who've been doing really well. In this last season, they've done really well. So apart from that, I think Thiago signing is a player we would love to have in our team, and I think he's going to be the perfect I think the only missing link that this particular team has in terms of having somebody as a central midfielder. But apart from that, I think the team is. I mean, we have a team that's been playing with each other for the past 2 to 3 years. You see, the crux of this Liverpool team in the last 3 years, it's more or less been the same team, the same front three, and these guys know how to play with each other, and that's one of the most the best part of this particular team. So I think that ways it shouldn't affect much. Yes, there's been talks about Gini Wijnaldum, but I hope he stays still because I think he's a very important clock for Liverpool.
Yeah. And Matt, talking about Leeds. So like you mentioned, they signed Rodrigo, obviously to getting goals. But in the previous, if you watch the Nations League, he didn't perform that well for Spain. So do you think his, motivation, his morale is slightly going to be hampered, and do you think it will affect Leeds in the long run?
I don't think it'll affect him personally. I think it's sort of starting a new chapter when he makes his debut for Leeds. Obviously, certainly in the first few games, Ellen Road is known for having an amazing atmosphere. I've been quite a few times myself watching Forest. So I think that'll probably play into other teams' hands when they go to Ellen Road as well. I think that'll be a big factor, particularly for some of their new signings. Yeah. They've signed Helder Costa from Wolves at the end of last season. So again, he'll be looking to sort of get off the mark as a new signing as one of their own players. But I don't think it'll affect him. I think he's experienced enough to bounce back from those kind of things, and he'll have the support of his teammates and Bielsa, no doubt. And I think that'd be a good team. That'd be a good game.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Jurgen Klopp and his staff would have, analyzed Leeds from last season. But watching Nottingham Forest play against them, do you think there's any weakness which Samik can, tell Jurgen to, just implement that so that we can get a victory?
I think at times it might not affect the Liverpool game, but they do struggle to get performances against some of the lesser teams. I know they slipped up on a lot of games, particularly at teams against the bottom half of the table. But I think the way they play and pass the ball around, whether their fitness might be an issue against a team like Liverpool. I think if Liverpool press them high up the pitch, I don't think especially losing Ben White, I don't think they've got the ball-playing centre-backs. Obviously, Calvin Phillips in the middle of the park. I don't think they've got the ball-playing centre-backs to be able to sort of break a really high press. I think that's the one thing I'd definitely try and exploit if I was Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp.
Samik, maybe you can ping Jurgen, tell him about this.
Yes.
Watching from last season.
Yes.
So thank you guys. Yeah. Thank you for your time. Matt, I will want you on screen because you will be talking about Fulham, another promoted team. So thank you, Samik, for your time. Now we'll call in London derby. Fulham is facing Arsenal. So we'll have Kaushik who will be talking about Arsenal.
Yeah, hi Vinny. Yes. I'm back. Yeah.
Hi. So let's directly move on to prediction. Do you think Arsenal can beat Fulham?
Yeah, I think we can beat Fulham. I mean, otherwise, you're going into the season with a lot of positive sort of win behind you, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, I think this year, I definitely think we have to make a big splash for sort of the top four, right? I mean, that's sort of minimum criteria for success this year. And things are looking good. I mean, our team's definitely improved from last year, for sure. I mean, with the investment in centre-backs, etc. But I think it's interesting for me. So I think, playing a team first up, which is just sort of come up from the championship, is always tricky, right? The level of momentum, any sort of freshly promoted Premier League club. But also, it's kind of interesting because I think Craven Cottage, if I'm not mistaken, is the smallest dimension of football stadiums in the Premier League. It's a really small pitch, and that always makes the games very interesting. There's not enough space, etc. So it'll be interesting. And the other thing I want to see as an Arsenal fan is if you sort of look at since Mikel Arteta's come, we've had a really good track record against the better teams, which is a big
Yeah,
big
but now
reversal of
speaking
trend.
about improvements,
Yeah,
you all are trying to sign Thomas Partey, you're trying to sign Hussein Mawar,
yeah,
but there are no negotiations officially with either of the clubs. Thomas Partey there was, but they're adamant that they want the 15 million stated in the
right,
release
right,
clause. Does
right.
Arsenal have those funds? Because they, not to go on the negative side, but they obviously let off many of their staff, which is already creating a stir in, about Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, that said, we've spent 23 million on a new centre back, in addition to Saliba coming back with Gabriel from Lille, who's kind of highly rated. Nobody expected that. Yeah, no, I think we definitely have to sell before we buy. So, if somebody were to buy Gundozi because he's completely fallen out, obviously. Although that
but he
said, his
did train with the
latest tweet, yeah,
team.
yeah, I did see his tweet saying whatever after he captained the, I think the French under-21 team got the number 10 jersey, and he tweeted saying back to Arsenal. So we'll see. But I definitely
Yeah.
think somebody has to be sold. I think there's some talk about Lacazette moving on as well. And to be honest, if you were to ask me personally, I think we could do away with a Lacazette to get a better sort of more quality in the midfield. Because I think sort of between Aubameyang and Nketiah, who's sort of shaping up, Gabriel Martinelli, who's eventually Arteta said is going to play as a centre forward. I think we have some strength there. So yeah, we'll see. But I think if you think about Willian coming in, Ceballos coming back in his second year, so he'll start with more momentum. We've somewhat sorted the central defense out. The two wing backs, our best wing backs. Bellerin came out of an ACL last year, so really it was a fresh start for him. Tierney sort of lost pretty much first 4 months of the season with a dislocated shoulder. So I think all in all, we are definitely in a better shape, right? And Arteta for the last sort of post lockdown, we've had top 4 form. So yeah, I'm quite positive.
So hopefully, as an Arsenal fan, you would be hoping that they continue the form even from the Community Shield. But Matt, Fulham, who are again promoted to the Premier League, like I specify again, yes. So, do you have anything to say on them?
I think you can expect a different Fulham side to what was there a few years ago, and the fact that they haven't really gone out and spent a lot of money this time around. I think they probably learned last time that, especially looking at Sheffield United this season, it's probably not the right way to go about it. So they've actually kept most of their team. They've made a few good additions. So Anthony Robinson, who's a wing back from Wigan, they signed him, and also picked up Lamina from Southampton. So I think they're both good signings. They've kept a lot of their squad from the Premier League, so they've actually got a ready-made squad which has been playing together for a while under Scott Parker now. And they're a team that like to have a lot of the ball, but defensively they're not quite as comfortable as West Brom and Leeds, I'd say. Certainly the times where we played them, I think we played them at their place and beat them 2-1, and they had about 78% possession of the ball. So I think they're a team that will like to have the ball, but I think that's where they'll struggle. If Mitrovic doesn't score, then I can't see them keeping the ball out the net either. So I think I think Arsenal will have it comfortably. Maybe again, going back to the fact if there were fans, it might be slightly different, but they'll have confidence going up. Of course, it was they won it late into the playoff final, but I'm not convinced they have enough to beat a team like Arsenal, especially in the form they're in as well.
So you will hope that as a Nottingham fan, that Fulham again get relegated, so that there are better chances for you all to come on top.
Yeah, I'd like to see a bigger club get relegated in case fans go back to the stadium. But I think of the two teams, of the three teams that go up, I think Fulham will probably struggle the most. They say in that I thought Sheffield United would go down this season, so you really can't tell with some of these teams coming up.
Yeah, definitely. So we hope to, as a neutral fan, I would hope that Nottingham Forest do come in the Premier League for the rich history and everything else.
Yeah.
So hopefully to see you soon for the next Premier
Me
League
too.
thing. Yes. So thank you, Kaushik. Thank you, Matt.
Thank
So
you.
talking about London clubs, let's move on quickly up to the remaining London clubs. West Ham, we have Spurs, and obviously the most exciting of the teams, Chelsea. So I would like West Ham to come on. Like so, Kumar is there. For Spurs, we have Niranjan from Mumbai, and for Chelsea, we have Danny back. Yes. So I'll quickly move on to Danny. Danny, the most exciting squad currently is of Chelsea. No doubt in that. I don't think so. There's any doubt. But there was sort of a trigger point that Klopp said, even if you go on to
Even if
spend
you go
200
on to
million,
spend 200 million,
you don't win titles.
you don't.
Do you agree with that?
Sorry, I didn't hear for a second. It just went off. Could you repeat that?
Yeah. So Klopp yesterday took a dig at Chelsea, took a dig at Lampard that they went on to spend 200 million, but unless like he doesn't think they deserve it and they don't deserve the title as such. So like a strong statement start of the season.
Well, last week I said that Chelsea might come third, but
Yes.
I had a little look yesterday and I looked at the team and who they've got and how well they did last year, and some people are going to probably laugh at this statement. I think they're going to compete for the title this year, and obviously Klopp's going to say that. It's mind games, and I don't think it should faze them. I think looking at the players they brought in, Havertz and Werner and Ziyech, also bringing in Thiago Silva at the back with the young players like Sarr as well. And you've got a very young team across the lineup as well. And I think if you actually sit back and analyse it, we'll start from the defence. They've brought in Silva, so he's going to help some of the young players get a little bit better.
With the experience he gets in, he may help out Kepa as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Just bring out his confidence.
And they're also thinking of bringing in a goalkeeper, Mendy, to potentially give
I guess
Kepa a bit
I
of
just read before the show, it's a done deal. So Rene have accepted the bid.
Perfect.
Yes, so
that's
so
even,
it's here we go, as we call it in the transfer market. It's here we go. So yes.
Yeah. Well, also they've got obviously Ziyech up front. I mentioned Pulisic, who came through at the end of the season. They have Pulisic as well, and Abraham, who did really well. And if you look at it, they've got Mount as well, and they've got a great team. And to be honest, I think a lot of people have emphasis on Liverpool winning the league again, and I think Klopp's a great manager. I think he's one of the best managers that's ever lived, but he's not really added to his team, and that's what managers have made a fault in the past. And I think if he wants to compete again, he's going to have to change his team up a little bit. And I think Chelsea will definitely, make an impact this season. Yeah, for definite.
So for the first match, your predictions against Brighton?
3-2.
Favor of Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
Just clarifying compared to last season, that's it. So thank you, Danny, for your insights on Chelsea. So let's move on to another rivals, you can call them, and former Chelsea legend at the post with Mourinho going to Spurs. Niranjan, are you feeling good about this season?
Yeah.
Niranjan, so how are you feeling?
Hi, Vinit. I feel like Mourinho coming to Spurs is a good thing for Spurs. And I think Mourinho has got this last chance to prove himself. So if Mourinho doesn't prove himself at the Spurs, he won't get any big club after this. And I think Kane, Son, everybody fit and fine. So I think Spurs have got easy fixtures also to start off with. So they can't drop off the points to start off with. So I feel like,
Do you think any more signings are needed?
Yeah, I think everything is contributed by Kane and Son with goals and assists. Most things have been done by Kane and Son.
Yeah.
So
even in the FPL, everyone is getting in Son and Everyone is
Kane.
getting in Son, everyone's getting in
If
Kane.
Kane, if you have to sign any player in Spurs, you either sign Kane or Son in FPL. You don't take any third player other than that one. So that is a disadvantage. In case Kane or Son gets injured, then that would be a problem for Spurs.
Yeah, that happened the previous season.
Yes.
Kane got injured and Son got injured. So everything was fallen on Lucas Moura, Dele Alli.
But
Yes, I agree with that.
Lucas Moura, Dele Alli are not able to contribute like Son and Kane. So I think Ndombele can be a turning point if Mourinho can give him more attacking options.
That's something new I've heard. So yes, maybe
Yeah.
we can hope for the best for Spurs. So Kumar, you have a tough run of fixtures, and you mentioned that you're not too optimistic with the past records on the first day itself. So can you
Yes.
just talk
So
about it?
it's better of the worst to begin with, because Newcastle too has lost 6 of their last 7 first day fixtures, and we have lost 4 on the run. So it's the battle of the worst on first day. I am expecting this to be a draw. To be honest, a 2-all draw is my prediction. We have been buoyed with the news that Thomas Soucek will be playing. He was actually in the Czech Republic squad, which had contacted COVID-19. The backroom staff had contacted COVID-19, so the entire Czech team had to replace all its players in the Nations League. But Soucek has tested negative, so he'll be starting. And that's a positive news. But we have been a selling club this season. We have not purchased a single player. We have sold 2 of our strikers in Dugil and Ajeti.
The youngest player, who Nolan was frustrated with it.
Yeah, Diangana. So Diangana has been sold to West Brom, and Ajeti has been sold to Celtic, and Hugel has been sold to Hull. So we have lost 3 of our attacking options. We are dependent on Antonio, who had the best run in his last month. I mean, the month of July, which he scored 8 goals for West Ham, which was the best. I mean, after Luis Suarez scored in 2013, he scored 10 goals in a calendar month. That is the highest in Premier League. But West Ham did end very well the last season. So if we start the way we ended last season, I see us in the top 10 this year. But we do need signings. We do need backup. If any of our players get injured, we don't have backup for any of the position. So our defense is shambolic. Our midfield is very strong, but we have no attacking options. So we are only strong in the center. We are not strong up ahead. We are not strong in the behind. We have let too many goals. We don't score too many goals. So that's the problem that West Ham faces. And with the tough run of fixtures, I expect us to be bottom of the league in the first 7 matches, because we have
not expected.
No, I mean, I'm being a pessimist right now, but we have Wolves, we have Leicester, we have Tottenham, we are facing Chelsea. So I mean, we are facing Liverpool. So in the first 5-6 matches, except for Newcastle, we have all tough fixtures to start with. So I'm not a return of 5 to 7 points is also a bonus for me in the first 6 fixtures, as I see as of now.
Okay, that's something not expected. Niranjan.
Yes.
So Kumar mentioned that 2-all draw for his team. What about you?
Can you repeat it? Vinit? Sorry.
So what about you? Do you think Spurs have that the spark needed to beat Everton, because the signings they have made, everything at Everton is going smoothly right now. Their morale is high, everything is going good. So do you think Spurs have that to win on the opening day, because it's at home as well?
See, I was expecting easy win for Spurs against Everton, but after the recent signing of Rodriguez and Doucouré and Alan also now, so I feel like it could be a tough for Spurs. It won't be an easy win, because Ancelotti also will be attacking, and Mourinho would be more of a defending. So let's see how it's going on. But I expect a little marginal win for Spurs. Not an easy win, but they can take 3 points from there.
Yeah, so you were talking about Kane previously being your top scorer. So here's a fun trivia that Vardy, when he won the Golden Boot for the season when he scored 23 goals last season, is the oldest player to win that award, which is
Yeah.
a big thing because his career went off very late compared to others. And obviously, with a team like Leicester, it's something on a dream run. So, Niranjan, Kumar, thank you. Thanks a lot for
Thank you
coming
very
on
much.
our show. Yes. So, hope you all liked it. Hope your teams win, as you all are not playing against each other. So, I can say that. Yes, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So,
There would be lot of coaches being sacked. I hope Mourinho is not the first one to get sacked.
yeah, Kumar is showing a medal, everything. Kumar is already excited but slightly pessimistic about his results. So thank you guys again. So I would like to bring on Priyanka, our co-host for today.
Hi, Vineet. That was quite an interesting discussion. Super excited for the EPL start.
Yeah, and talking about the Wadi thing, I just recollected again. So Ciro Immobile beat Lewandowski, beat Ronaldo, beat Messi to go and win the European Golden Boot, wherein he scored 36 goals last season. Where you can say कि Lewandowski obviously played fewer games compared in the Bundesliga, but even being in that class, like of Ronaldo, of Messi, of Lewandowski, that's a big achievement. So, like, definitely, I'm sure, considering that, Ciro Immobile will again get in the confidence. Before we announce the winner, Priyanka, your thoughts on the Premier League?
Honestly, I'm super pumped. Like there are so many signings that have taken place. It's back so soon, after that break with the lockdown and everything, and now it's back again. And I bet a lot of the fans also are super excited. And you can't really predict what's going to happen with
Yeah,
the Premier
definitely.
League. You just can't call it a farmers league for sure. So it's definitely one of the most exciting leagues, and I'm super
Yeah,
excited. I bet you are as well.
yes. So, let's, Priyanka, if you can do the honors and announce the winner of the quiz. Where,
Yes. Yes, definitely. So we had the interesting question of the week brought to you by Chubbs. And the question was, in October last year, Leicester City beat Southampton 9-0, and two players scored hat tricks. One was Vardy, who was the other? And we have Siddhant with the correct answer on screen. Correct. Congratulations, Siddhant. Do DM us on our Instagram page so you can get your amazing prize. And congrats again. Back to you, Vineet.
yes. So, congrats, Siddharth. You win the flip flops from Chubbs. Like Priyanka mentioned, do DM us. And then before we end the show, again, just a reminder to everyone, if we can get the screen, Nishad, if you can get the screen. Yes, so if you can see on your screen, our fantasy is live. We have a code over there. As you can see, it's X1U4YE. So it's free. There are lots of exciting prizes to win. So join in before 18th of September, and definitely I'm sure you will have a blast over there. So I would like to end our show over here. I would like to thank our sponsors, Chups and Bounce India, who were supportive all along to create TheFanspire. And I want to thank our audience, most importantly on YouTube, on Facebook, and obviously not to forget our panelists for tonight. So I would like to hear your views again. So hope to see you all soon. So thank you guys. Good night. Good night, Priyanka. Thank you.
Thank you.